Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Marley Hatsune coming to you from wherever it is I'm recording right now, where I'm not gonna say. Unfortunately, my mic has officially bit the dust, and I'm stuck with a mic that's used on like earbuds and whatever. So, I really can't record any singing right now, for it would be not so great quality. Anyway, I'm coming to you with more than just that little stupid update, because I kind of made it aware already when Mojine told you. Which, she actually, well, I should be saying I uploaded a video of her doing a duet with Sakone Te, but hey, that's not what this is all about. Let me get into something that I'm pretty sure a lot of Zelda fandom people would probably be interested in and would hate me for. The Legend of Zelda timeline. Yes, right, the timeline. It's got some weird problems, and I think I'm just gonna put as a picture the official timeline somewhere in here or within this video. Or it probably will end up being the whole flippin' thing, which that'd be just peachy if it were. And, excuse me while I put my earbud in properly, because I can't be holding it this whole time. Otherwise, my hand would fall off or something, and that'd be bad. Let's look up Zelda timeline for a second, because then I can give some valid points and make this sense. So I think you already figured out that I'm kind of going to be discussing the Legend of Zelda timeline, which, to me, doesn't really make that much sense, in a way that I'm viewing it as. This is my standpoint, and I'm gonna take a look at it from a different point of view, per se. I'm looking mostly at the title order and things like that. Now, we all know the whole thing about Skyward Sword being the first game. And that makes sense, because if there's going to be an official timeline, there should be a first game. Why they pick Skyward Sword to be the first, I don't really know. Because there's so much left unsaid about what happened before. Sure, they give you a clear storyline, but still it doesn't really... It's like, for me, it was like, I kind of want to know more about this. How did this come to be? Stuff like that. And then, the next game is the Minish Cap, which, I'm looking at this as more, before you start yelling at me, the way I see this is more of a, say, over time, you know, next generation type thing. I'm looking at it like it were a actual person, even though I know it's not, yet it is. If you can understand what I'm getting at. I mean, you're probably just gonna yell at me, yeah, it's just a redesign. It's just to give him a new bit of flair and yada yada yada. I get it. I know. I read about my stuff while I play it, if I play it, and during pre, post, all that stuff. In between. In my sleep. All that crap. Yeah! But I'm looking at it as more if it were a actual evolution of mankind. Well, Hylian-kind. And the Minish Cap, it doesn't really make much sense to me, being after Skyward Sword. I know there are some references scattered about and stuff like that, but what happened to Skyloft? That's what I want to know. If Skyward Sword is the first game and literally all the Hylians lived up on a giant rock, where did it go? What happened to it? I want to know. And it doesn't really make much sense. I mean, suddenly a hat is, like, talking to you. Although the hat's really a little, not an actual talking hat. And if you haven't played it, which I haven't actually, but I know the ending. Spoilers! But anyway, I think it would make more sense if Twilight Princess was the sequel to Skyward Sword. And let me lay down why. I actually should have mentioned that this video will be full of spoilers, because it doesn't really make sense unless I go back into the game. Anyway, let's get back on track. I keep getting derailed. I really think that Twilight Princess should be after Skyward Sword, because due to the fact that there's the city in the sky, it makes sense to me that Twilight Princess would be after Skyward Sword because you still know something is up there. Although it's not exactly like the actual Skyward Sword, Skyloft, all that, there's chicken people flying around named Okos, I think. I can't say their names worth crap. What? Anyway, it makes more sense. Like, the Skyloft people who didn't end up going down to the Earth with Link, Zelda, Groose, all them, stayed up there, probably bred with the Loftwings, and became the chicken people that they were in Twilight Princess. It just makes more chronological sense, in my eyes. Now, you could be completely disagreeing with me saying that the timeline official is perfect, but I'm just looking at it from my standpoint, and I have a right to my opinion, as you do to yours. Anyway, so now that that's been I put that out there, the next, I'm gonna go back to the original timeline. Then it says Four Swords is the next game, and I guess it would make sense there, considering the fact that there's the Minish cap, and it's Four Swords there, and it's pretty much just still Toon Link design. But then it gets really confusing, because next is Ocarina of Time, and you regenerate back to a pretty much normal form. Well, not so much, normal as in Skyward Sword, where it's more human. Just with the obvious characteristics of the ears and probably a height deficiency. But that's beside the point. And then, so it doesn't really make sense where it is, yet it does as you go later into the 3 branched timelines. I don't know where exactly I would throw Four Swords and Ocarina of Time in my own version. I'm just kind of candiding. This is all pretty much candid, as you could probably tell. Anyway, it does, yet it doesn't make sense. And then I kind of figured this out, mostly because I read some snippets people scanned from the Hyrule Historia, and the fact that I listened to the game theorists' version of why the timeline is wrong. They just threw it in your face with the facts, but it didn't go into other standpoints. It just went through the one beeline one, where I'm trying to think in another one. Outside the box! Yeah! But, anyway, then in Ocarina of Time, they said that if Link dies anywhere in his journey, the failed timeline goes on, where it's a Link to the Past, Oracles, Link's Awakening, the first Legend of Zelda game, and then the Adventure of Link. Why it's in this order, I'm not exactly sure. It doesn't exactly make sense. I mean, if you really think about it, it'd make more sense where, like, the first Legend of Zelda is the first game. I mean, come on. It's the first game. I understand they put Skyward Sword as a prequel. It makes sense, yet it doesn't. And then the whole Twilight Princess being after it would make more sense. The Wii games going together anyway. You can see what I'm getting at. But, like, yeah, so I'm thinking more. I'm just gonna throw this out there. The Toons games should have its own timeline. And the Toon games should not be the adult timeline of after Ocarina of Time being the Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks. Because I know it's technically a Zelda game and it should be included in the timeline, but really, the Toon designs just don't make sense there, considering the fact that if you were thinking of the timeline as the Hylian kind, their adaptability changing because of the evolution, they kind of backtrack in evolution yet again. They go from humanoid to cartoon, way out of proportion, back to human, back to cartoon. Then again, with the Ocarina of Time, there is the childhood and the adulthood, and apparently, as a 7-year-old, you're an adult in Hyrule. I can't say for sure. I can't exactly hate on it, because, hey, it's medieval. Man of the house was the man, the son was the man of the house when dad was gone. Although Link didn't have dad. The feels. Anyway, so you can see what I'm getting at, though, right? Childhood timeline and adult timeline don't make sense, because, and especially in the childhood timeline, Twilight Princess being there. I mean, if it's like his adolescenthood, then I get it, but it really shouldn't be in the middle of the timeline, because then it just another relapse back into cartoon world and as Four Swords Adventures comes out. Which really, I don't think it should count as its own game, because it's basically a remake of the first Four Swords that's not as good as the original, mostly because, well, I probably could be wrong because I haven't gotten 4 people to play it with me at once. Only gotten 2. Sucks so much, but it's from what I've read and watched out of people playing the original Four Swords, there seems to be a lot more to it than just beating up, getting a bunch of keys, and then going to Vadi's palace and beating the crap out of them. There are a lot more things that I probably would have been looking forward to had I been able to play the original game and Four Swords Adventures and being doing an actual contrast side by side, looking at the two. But so Twilight Princess really shouldn't be where it was, because it's in between Majora's Mask and Four Swords Adventures. And another reason, then this also brings me to another point where I don't know, the whole thing where the Stalfo that teaches Link stuff is Link's regrets. In a way, I can see where that makes sense, because if for like it being after Skyward Sword. There's a reason why, because there's this side quest in the game where the storage lady in Skyward Sword, if you talk to her enough, she starts to fall in love with you. And it gets to the point where I didn't get that far by the time I beat Skyward Sword. But it gets to the point where Fi actually tells you, I don't think it's a good idea if you tell this to Zelda that you got this obvious relationship going down. When really, she looks really disgusting and Zelda looks so freaking beautiful. Why people? I don't understand that. I don't understand when they ship that. But you can see what I'm getting at, because Link, if they actually do this, and Link doesn't get with Zelda, because Zelda obviously loves him. I mean, come on, it's so canon. They just don't make it canon. Zilling fans everywhere. I hope you agree with me. They were just so much perfectly a thing. They were a thing. It was so blatantly obvious they were a thing. I mean, come on. I was waiting for a kiss to happen. I was waiting for my OC ship to be. Bro, I shouldn't bring that up. Anyway, if you do that side quest in Twilight Princess, maybe what could in Skyward Sword. I'm getting myself confused. Anyway, think. Skyward Sword, if you do the side quest and you decide to marry that other chick, I could understand where the Stalfo comes in between the two. Link could be regretting the fact that he decided to marry the other lady and not Zelda. It could be which actually, that may be the reason why everybody wanted to tune, but that doesn't really make sense, because considering all the characters in that game were highly characterized and full of different body styles and shapes and face, although the face structure was pretty normal depending on the body's type, size, and stuff like that. It all makes sense, yet it doesn't make sense. But you can see what I'm getting at here, right? I hope you do. It really just doesn't. It does. So, child timeline. I could see Majora's Mask being the sequel to Ocarina of Time, though, in some way, shape, or form, in the childhood, because there could probably be a childhood timeline and a failed timeline, but there really isn't enough games to be an actual adult timeline, because we don't exactly know how old Link is in A Link to the Past, the Oracles, Link's Awakening, and then the Adventures of Link and the Legend of Zelda. So, yeah, I mean, for Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time to be run right after the other, it makes sense, because knowing me, when Navi flew off when I played the Ocarina of Time 3DS make, I was kind of sad. I know she was annoying, but she was actually really helpful, because I'm not that good at Zelda games. I will openly admit that. Puzzles and stuff like that, my brain just cannot function. I had to ask my mom for help so many times when I played Twilight Princess, and I still haven't beaten it yet. This past Christmas, I had it for over a year. Shame on me. Then again, you know, I still got time. I still haven't beat the end game yet. Major spoilers. Still haven't beaten it yet, but and I was aggravated. I got aggravated when I got as far as I did. Twilight Princess, Zelda, for that matter. I love you, but you make my brain go die sometimes. Anyway, we'll get back on this with the whole timeline thing. I keep getting derailed. I'm sorry. And I talk really fast. That probably doesn't really help that much either. Anyway, so after Ocarina of Time, being a childhood timeline makes sense, but theoretically, wouldn't there only be one actual timeline? Because when he's a kid, yeah, he get that. But then when as he grows up, wouldn't that be its own timeline, where they be in there somewhere, like where the other games fit in? I mean, the failed timeline, it makes sense that there is one, but the games in there don't really make sense. I mean, there's so many things that I could just go on about. I just can't think of them all off the top of my head. So basically, you can see what I'm getting at. Skyward Sword, alright, it can be the first one, it makes sense. Twilight Princess should be after it. Minish Cap, Four Swords Adventures, any of the Toon games where it's obviously Toon Link should have its own just thing. It shouldn't be its own adult timeline, because that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Because Toon Link sounds like a little kid, behaves like a little kid, obvious dweeb, but then again, so is the regular Link. But more so as Toon Link from what I've seen and noticed. So, Toon Link should have his own timeline, not so much included in the grand old swing of things that are all the other ones. And, yeah. So, I would think Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time kind of makes sense being where it is, because there's two different timelines. But I really don't think that it should branch off into the three that it is, because, well, it could be two. I don't know. The failure timeline, it could be there, it couldn't be there. I don't know if the games in it should be. I'm not sure what we would even be able to replace it with. And after Ocarina of Time, it makes sense if Majora's Mask was after it, because Link, we could assume, was looking for Navi when all the shit went down, and the moon was gonna destroy Termina. Moon with that rape face, though. That face, though! So, yeah, that should be it. And then the games probably could fall into place if I knew a lot more about them. I only know from what I read in the mangas that this one lady made, or guy, I'm not good at Japanese names yet, that I only read I'm basing all my knowledge is based off of that and what I read out of the Anniversary Game Informer. And I don't know if you noticed this yet or not, especially those who've played the game by now, I haven't said anything about A Link Between Worlds. And you wanna know why? Because I haven't played it yet. I want to, yet I don't want to, because there's so many things I heard that are great, yet wrong about it. Seeing so many ships on my Tumblr. Tumblr spoiled thing for me. It spoiled Twilight Princess for me. Twilight Princess got spoiled for me because of Tumblr and Game Informer, and oh my god. Tumblr. Spoilers. I don't know how to blackmail tags. I know I'm stupid. But, yeah. So, let me just say this one more time, because I know my brain is I don't know. Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, probably Ocarina of Time. It would make sense. Then Majora's Mask. Toon series be its own. All the other ones we could probably throw into place based on the game setting. Any references in the games that could reference to each other. Although the Oracle games, I'm not sure where they would fit, because I don't know. I mean, if they're like Schrodinger's cat theory, where they're like the same, like the cat in the box, whatever. It's parallel games, so I'm assuming that they're probably just alternate dimensions. So I would think it would make sense if the Oracle games probably was a dimension puller in some way, judging by the fact that he can go back in time with the harpy thing and stuff. Ocarina of Time Oracle of Ages could probably be competitive in terms of the fact of there being a timeline dispute, because that could actually help or hurt. Oracle of Seasons probably could. They could probably find a way for a sequel to the Oracle games to pop up before Skyward Sword as a prequel to the actual timeline because of the Oracle of Ages game. It would just make sense that way. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this because, you know, I do this for you guys. I love you guys, and plus I have a right to my opinion, and I've seen so much timeline debate on the game so many times. I don't even. So, yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching. You can put all the comments you want down below. Just make sure that they're not too... I don't like hater comments. If you hate comment me, I will find it and remove it. Because you know what? I like constructive criticism. And I like talking about this with you guys. Because you know what? Zelda's a great game. The fandom's pretty cool, you know. So, yeah. Zelda. Woo! So... yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment your thoughts on the timeline that I threw out there, and, you know, subscribe to my channel. I got stuff going up at random times, and it'd be cool to find it, whether it be me talking about things like Zelda, or Pokemon, or anime. You know, I'm just a bucket of surprises. Find something to talk about, and look what happens. So, yeah, that's about it. I will talk to y'all in the comments, on chats, wherever you're gonna find me, and I'm out.